All right, so I'm going to explain the review journal project to you. This will be 2 test grades. The first test grade will be for quarter 3. It'll be due right before spring break. And the second test grade will be for quarter 4, which will be towards the beginning. So here are the instructions which you have access to on the Google Drive. So it says you'll be creating a math journal that covers all of the major topics we have covered this year so far. It'll be 2 test grades. So all of the topics are there. I'm not going to read those to you. You will have 10 entries. So you see there are 10 entries here. Each worth 20%. The reason they're worth 20% is because the first 5 will be due right before spring break and the last 5 will be due after spring break. And so it's really 200 total points because the first 5 is 100 points and the second 5 is 100 points. Like I said, the first 5 entries are due on those days. Each entry may not be the same length, but they must contain everything that I asked for. So you may have one entry that's 3 pages and only another entry that's only 1 page. That's okay as long as you include everything that's asked. So you have to have a title, an example problem. For some of them, there's multiple example problems necessary, and a 1 to 2 paragraph journal entry. And I have prompts for you. So it says you will be responsible for finding your own example problems. I would strongly recommend that you use the Google Drive. Sometimes we did book problems, but that should be on the Google Drive if we did that. And so use those examples. You do not have to create your own. And I would suggest that you not just go Google search problems because y'all end up finding stuff that is beyond what we have already done. So here is the rubric. Each objective will be 20 points. So again, 20 times 5 is 100. So the first 5 is 100 points for the first test grade. So if you have a title, basically you either have a title or you don't. You need to make sure you have a title. You do not have to write out the entire objective, but you need to have something that indicates what objective it was. And then you have example problems. So it says all examples included and have a clear explanation with legible work and the correct answers, 10 points. So if there's 3 examples necessary and you only have 2, then you don't get 10 points. Okay, you would actually only get 6. Okay, so it's very important that you include all of the examples. And then here are the requirements, the rubric for the journal. Journal has clear thought patterns and accurate explanation, and so forth. And so here are the journal prompts. So for objective 1, let's go back. Objective 1 is I can solve equations, and that should include distributive property. The journal entry is explain how you solve the equation you chose for your example. So basically just straightforward explaining your problem. Objective 2 is I can solve an equation for a specific variable. So that's like when we have 2x plus 5y equals 10 and we're trying to solve for y. So we're not going to get that y equals a number, we're going to get an expression still. And so the journal prompt there says, explain how solving an equation with one variable is different than solving an equation for a variable with other variables as in a formula. So you're comparing and contrasting. Okay, the next one, discuss the meaning of slope. So again, all of these correspond to the objective, and they need to be 1 to 2 paragraphs. They need to be written well, as if your English teacher was going to look at it. And again, you can see clear thought patterns and accurate explanation. So I'm looking for clear thinking that I can see in your writing, as well as that the math that you're explaining is done properly. And so each of those entries will then compile, and we're going to use a specific paper that I'll talk to you about in class. That way we can scan this in onto our Google Drive. The hope is that we will have this for Algebra 2 and be able to refer back to it. So we will have very clear explanations of how we did things. Make sure your work is neat. You will have some class time to do this, and I'll talk more about this in class.